So you want to answer Chris Brockman's question as to why Trevor Lawrence got paid with the one playoff win and a couple of seasons around it that weren't very first overall draft choice like, Tom?
When I was out there a couple of weeks ago, Brockman wasn't overly thrilled with me because he posed the
what's more likely
of Tua versus Trevor Lawrence and which one of them would get a $50 million plus payday. I didn't choose one. I said both. And that's the reality that all these quarterback contracts now are going to be $50 million plus. I think that where the Trevor Lawrence one is going to surprise some people was the fact that it went all the way to Burrow. It went to $55 million per year because that now bears on the Tua situation, on Jordan Love. I don't think it really bears on the Dak Prescott situation because that was always in all likelihood going to be upwards of $55 million. But now where you could have an intellectual debate of whether a Tua contract should be closer to 50 or 60 million, now you have to look at this if you're his agent and say 55's the floor, and we want to beat that because Trevor Lawrence statistically has not done what Tua has done over the past couple of years with Mike McDaniel there. Yes, Trevor Lawrence has a playoff win, which Tua does not, but every young quarterback coming up now, we went from 40 to 45 to 50. Now 55 is really going to be the baseline for all these deals to get done. And so make no mistake, that does complicate some things when teams are trying to budget this out and figure out exactly where these numbers should be.
So then Chris's pushback, if you don't mind me pushing back for you, Chris, because I think you're giving voice to what a lot of folks who are watching this and listening to it are saying.
Speak for the people.
Is what then why who cares what an agent is demanding? Who cares? And I know that agent represents somebody that's very important to the franchise and the locker room and the health of it. And by the way, this is pushback on the other side of it. I understand what you're saying, but why isn't there a team that's willing to deliver a market correction of significance that might even cause a fracture of a relationship and then start from scratch at the quarterback spot? Why won't they do that?
Well, I talked to a GM for a different team this morning who made that exact same point, which was what he said was, I would let Tua play it out. Now, the issues that you create when you let your quarterback play out a fifth-year option on a contract is, number one, there's a leverage piece to this. Daniel Jones was in a different situation. It was a unique situation because him and Saquon were both free agents at the same time. And so you ended up in a situation where they wanted to get the deal done with Saquon, tag Daniel Jones. Saquon ends up turning down a big deal. Then you've got to pay Daniel Jones to be able to keep that together here. There's also just the relation. Yeah, there is the relationship with the player and your locker room dynamics and all that stuff. But the GM who called me this morning was just saying, you can't do a deal at that number. It's gone too far. And so certainly, Rich, there's going to be teams that look at this and say, we're not comfortable going there. I mean, when Daniel Jones got 40 last year, it blew people's minds. Obviously, Tua has produced at a higher level over the last couple of years statistically. Daniel Jones, though, also has been a part of a playoff win like Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence now is going all the way to 55. There certainly has been discussion within the league, Rich, among certain owners about even the idea of a quarterback cap, that at some point you want quarterback numbers to not go over a certain percentage of your salary cap. To my knowledge, that really hasn't gained traction, in part because so many teams have paid their quarterbacks. And if you went to suddenly an NBA model where all of a sudden you have the max and the super max, and there's really only a couple levels that guys can get paid at, it kind of changes the dynamics in terms of how you set yourself up salary cap wise and whatnot. So absolutely, there's been a discussion about exactly what you're talking about, which is, how are we paying this much money to this position and to certain guys just because they're the next one up? And that's where that Trevor Lawrence contract for some people is going to be one of those moments where Trevor Lawrence matching Joe Burrow as the highest paid player in NFL history, given a little bit of the inconsistency we've seen from Trevor Lawrence, the fact that he and the Jaguars did not play well down the stretch last year, it does give some people pause, but it's also a reflection that the quarterback market, like the salary cap, is going to continue to go up. So the longer you wait, the higher these numbers are probably going to be, absent what you're talking about, which would be some team convincing a player to take a sub-market deal, which is really hard to do in 2024.
And you also open yourself up to, listen, a contract like Trevor Lawrence given in that way, to somebody whose resume might not be as decorated as your quarterback who may be up soon. But it's Shad Khan's team, right? And it's Trent Baalke's salary cap to figure out. And if the owner's like, I love this kid, he's done everything. I want to, sure, if we can we go a little higher, then have him match Burrow, because I kind of want to walk around saying I've done right by my guy. And I think that actually might be a metric that gets us through a tough game, because he believes that we have his back. And we did the same thing similar to Josh Allen. And so you open yourself up to that owner doing that thing. The Jaguars are going along their merry way, and it's somebody else's bag to hold now. They don't care. Why would they? So where do things stand with Jordan Love as we speak right now? Because Jordan Love is like, he damn near made the NFC Championship game in his first foray. You know?
Yeah, you don't have as big of a track record on Jordan Love just because it's a 1-year starter, but he was playing at a very high level the back half of last season into the playoffs. That last interception notwithstanding, I think that it's a lot like Tua, where the Trevor Lawrence numbers come in. And while previously you could say, well, Joe Burrow's been to a Super Bowl, we're not going to want to go above Joe Burrow, but we'll get you in right underneath. Now, all of a sudden, it's Trevor Lawrence got 55. Why isn't Jordan Love getting substantially more than that? I believe he's due like $11 million this season as part of that bridge contract he did a year ago, which gave him a raise in 2023 and effectively bought out his 2024, what would have been the option year. There's no way Jordan Love, in my estimation, is playing for $11 million this year. I do believe that they are going to figure out that contract, but no question, every time one of these deals get done, the other ones become more expensive. There's not a lot of occasions in recent NFL history, especially at the quarterback position, where you wait and the price becomes better, which of course brings us to the whole Jerry Jones and leaves falling and all that good stuff, that all of a sudden his quarterback, whether it's in Dallas or otherwise, is probably quite possibly going to be in line to be the first $60 million man.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.